I think my father will be waiting for me in heaven. Don't be sad for me, learn from me. I can teach you something that will bring happiness into your life.
Sahaya International, a non-profit organization fulfilling long-term missions in developing countries, including here in India. In 1997, prior to founding Sahaya International, Dr. Koen van Rompuy, a renowned infectious disease specialist, was among an international group of scientists summoned to southern India for a conference aimed at fighting the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Outside the conference halls, he realized that slowing the HIV epidemic also meant tackling underlying conditions such as poverty, illiteracy, and substandard health care. And that while the government focused on HIV in the urban population, millions in the countryside were ignored, suffering. An Indian social worker named Selvam was also at the conference. Together, they would transform words into action. Selvam had started READ, a fledgling organization in rural southern India aimed at helping anyone who was disadvantaged. Families, orphans, and children like Tamilarasan, who was only 3 when his father died from chronic alcoholism.
सेवा बातें करती हमसे नैनों से हंसती भी हम पे नैनों से पकड़ लेती मेरी.
READ also took on those infected with HIV during a time when being HIV positive was considered an automatic death sentence.
हैरान हम खड़े
கட்டி பிடிச்சிட்டு ரொம்ப பிள்ளைக்கு இந்த மாதிரி வந்துருச்சு நம்ம போகிறத முன்னாடி நம்ம பிள்ளை போய்டும் ரொம்ப கண்ணீர் அந்த ஹாஸ்பிட்டலுக்கு எனக்கு போய்
सुलझी बातों को तरसे.
அப்பயே இந்த பையனோட தெரிஞ்ச ஸ்டேஜ்லேயே இருந்திருந்தா கூட நான் கொஞ்சம் பாதிக்கிறதுக்கு கொஞ்சம் நல்ல வாய்ப்பாக கிடச்சிருக்கும். பாதிக்காமையாவது இருந்திருப்பேன் நான்.
சொன்னாலே கொஞ்ச நேரம் சொன்னாலே இங்கே ரொம்ப வருத்தமாக இருந்தாங்க. எங்களுக்கு அவர் சொன்னாலே ரொம்ப பயமாக இருந்துச்சு சொன்னாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் இது வரைக்கும் இந்த குழந்தைங்கலாம் தெரியாது. அவங்களுக்கு சொல்லாமலே இது வரைக்கும் போச்சு. ஆனால் நாங்கள் எங்களுக்குள்ளே தான் தெரியும். வேறு யாருக்கும் தெரியாது. குழந்தைங்கள்லாம் இது வரைக்கும் சொல்லவே இல்லை. இந்த வியாதி தான் எதுவும் சொல்லவே இல்லை.
Unfortunately, at the conference itself, I then met a social worker, Mr. Selvam.
We met few times in between the break time only. Then I talked about the organization RAID, what we are working here in a rural place, and I showed the handmade greeting cards to him.
The greeting cards that these women make, they are embroidered. So they actually spend a lot of time on it, punching the holes, stitching the thread through it, and they're very beautiful. And when I saw those cards, I felt, wow, this is something I can sell in America, in Europe, to my friends and family. I can raise a little bit of money to support these programs. I can somehow make a difference.
He also left with a profound memory of many children he had met, including Tamala Rasan. In the meantime, Selvam struggled to keep Reed in place, communicating regularly with Koen. Like many who follow Indian tradition, Amuda's parents arranged her marriage. Problems arose from the start. Despite differences, they stayed together, having 2 children, Manikandan and Kaveri. Shortly after Kaveri's birth, her husband fell chronically ill. Doctors refused to reveal the diagnosis, insisting she bring a family elder. That family member, her mother-in-law, told Amuda it was tuberculosis. 4 months later, she was diagnosed with HIV.
இவங்க சொல்லவே இல்லை, சும்மா தான் சளி இரும்பு டிபி மாதிரி இருக்கு, 6 மாதத்துக்கு மாத்திரம் சாப்பிட்டா சரியாக போயிடும்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க அப்படின்னு. நானும் பார்த்த கல்யாணம் இல்லைம்மா, அவங்க அம்மா முடிக்கிறது, நீ வாழ முடிக்கா வாழு, இல்லைன்னு என்ன பண்ணிக்கோ, யாரையும் நம்பாத, உனக்குன்னு யாரும் எதுவும் செய்ய மாட்டாங்க, நீ நல்லா இருந்துக்கணும் அப்படின்னாங்க.
Back in the US, Koen had remained committed. Together with his friends, he'd formed Sahaya International. Their first priority was to get financial support. In time, they were up and running, and in the coming years, they worked hand in hand to build an international organization. While children with diverse needs gain access to education and care, adults and youth have the opportunity to learn a number of skills, including typing, computers, bookbinding, and even a special room for what got them started on day 1, card making. They also created a sponsorship program for children and families in need. On one of the first matches, Koen and Tamala Rasan.
So I didn't have to hesitate a single second. And I told him, look, I will help you. And over the course of the past few years, I've seen Tamala Rasan grow from a small boy to a young man. And I feel very proud of him.
They also launched programs to educate the local communities with correct information on HIV and AIDS, to break the silence and stigma. Along the way, they found families like Amuda's. After her husband died of AIDS, her family disowned her and her children.
Amuda and the family already, they have more stigma in the family. So all the education expenses are all things covered by the sponsorship program. And even the medical expenses, food expenses also covered in this program.
That was the first incident which made me to cry when she was saying the whole story, how she was infected and how his husband was infected and nobody to take care and the stigma going on along with the family. I said a consoled word that we will surely help you and surely give sponsorship for your children.
With Amuda's situation and others like her, Sahaya realized it wasn't enough to focus only on the individuals who were sick or struggling. to really make a difference, they had to create solutions based on the entire family's needs. In the course of a day, Amuda's family went from misery to hope. They now had food and access to schooling, healthcare, and medication. Amuda began working at the Reed Center itself. Velmurugan was diagnosed after the birth of his daughter. Sometime later, his wife tested positive. The children were fortunately not infected. After years of suffering, the father very weak, his health rapidly declining, the family applied for and received assistance. Today, the children are in school and the parents are receiving powerful HIV medication.
எங்களுடைய எதிர்காலம் வந்து நாங்கள் நல்லா இருக்கும்போது எங்கள் குழந்தைங்க வந்து தலை எடுத்துடணும். நாங்கள் எங்கள் மூச்சு இருக்கும்போது எங்கள் பிள்ளைங்களுக்கு வந்து அவங்களுக்கு வந்து ஒரு நல்ல படிப்பு உருவாக்கி அவங்கள ஒரு நல்ல வேலையில் அமர்த்தி அவங்களுக்கு நல்ல முறையில் ஒரு மேரேஜ் பண்ணி இது நல்லது இது கெட்டது இது செய்யலாம் இது செய்யக்கூடாது அப்படிங்கிறத அவங்களுக்கு வந்து நம்ம மூலயமா அவங்களுக்கு வந்து தெரியப்படுத்தணும்.
Some days the problems seem insurmountable, but Sahaya's commitment to each child and family endures. Reed started more than 1,000 self-help groups for women, giving training in leadership and development. They established a microfinance bank, providing loans to start small businesses, such as cashew nut processing, raising animals for dairy, weaving cloth for saris, spinning. Entrepreneurship empowers these women to provide their families with food and other basic needs. Sahaya has garnered support from hundreds of individuals and families inspired to reach out a helping hand. Sahaya has also received grants from well-established organizations. Today, the Mother Teresa School has grown from 9 students to over 180. As well, a passionate international campaign yielded the Jawahar Matriculation School. This school enables the children, despite the hardship they face at home, to have productive, engaged lives and a foundation for their future. And their parents now have healthcare, skills, and a course of action. And for the first time, a voice. Most attend regular HIV-positive support groups where they can speak freely, ask questions, discuss difficulties, and rally around each other, and in some cases, find a new path in life.
அனுப்ப பார்த்தோன்னே எனக்கு உடம்பு முடியாமல் வந்து நீ என்ன ஊருமா ஏமா இப்படி இருக்க யாரும் கூட வரலையா அப்படின்னு கேட்டாங்க. இல்லை யாரும் வரல, நான் ஒண்டி தான் எப்பயுமே வந்து மாத்திரை வாங்க வருவேன், என் கூடலாம் யாரும் வரமாட்டாங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னேன். சாப்பிட்டீங்களா அப்படின்னாங்க. இல்லைங்க அப்படின்னா அப்புறம் ஹோட்டலுக்கிட்ட போய் சாப்பாடு வாங்கி தட்டுமானாங்க. இல்லைங்க வேணாம், எனக்கு பஸ்ஸு மட்டும் ஏற்றி விடுங்க. எனக்கு பஸ்ஸுக்கெலாம் ஏறி இறங்க தெரியாது.
Amuda and Hanif may have a future together. For the moment, each has renewed hope. All of these programs are possible thanks to the generous support of the Sahaya network, whose members span the globe. Children write to their sponsors, sharing their progress. As more students excel in high school, some are able to go to college to pursue their careers. On occasion, supporters and volunteers make the trip and stay at the Sahaya guest house. They see firsthand the results of their efforts and are able to cement the friendships and connections that have been built.
ஹிந்தி மட்டும்தான் கொஞ்சம் கம்மியா இருக்கு. பாக்கி எல்லா பாடத்துலயும் 100 மார்க் எடுத்தேன்.
படிச்சு என்ன வர போகுது?
டாக்டரா படிக்கிறேன்.
நீங்க
நான் டாக்டர் தான்.
டாக்டர், 2 டாக்டர்ஸ்.
நான் படிச்சு இன்ஜினியர் ஆக போறேன். ஸ்கூல்ல வந்து கிளாஸ் டெஸ்ட் வைப்பாங்க. அப்போ வந்து எனக்கு நான் எல்லாத்தையும் படிச்சுட்டு போய் உடனே அங்கே மார்க் போட்டு வெரி குட்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அது எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும்.
As Tamilarasan grows, along with his friends and others, Sahaya is there, teaching, guiding, caring. Come join us. We'll be here.
May it be an evening star shines down upon you. May it be when darkness falls, your heart will be true. You walk alone. Oh, how far you are from home. Morning air, oh, truly believe and you will find your May it be the shadows call will fly away. May it be your journey on to light the day. When the night is over,